We have a massive update on the people that were stuck upside down for over an hour, and this will make you never want to ride a ride ever again. So this took place during a middle school field trip in Portland, Oregon, and the full story behind this gets insane. Because not only are people saying that they're never going on a roller coaster again, but that the people that were stuck upside down for so long are going to have permanent effects. Because they were on so long, and even doctors have been saying that this is going to have a lot of issues.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel today and you guys don't know what we do, let me break it down for you guys, man. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank all my supporters, man, that's coming back to the channel each and every single day, watching the videos entirely, man, commenting down below, and most importantly, hitting that thumbs up button on each and every single video drop. I greatly appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, Seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Y'all know what we do. Let's seek the truth.
The most dangerous water slides in the world. This water slide was designed to have a loop at the end. When it was tested though, riders had injuries. Many had nosebleeds and a dummy was even decapitated. However, they still opened it to the public. When one woman got stuck on the loop, they finally closed it down. This water slide drops you 60 feet vertically and is known as the leap of faith. You can also be sent through a hammerhead and shark lagoon too. The sharks will come inches from the glass right up next to you. The tallest water slide in the world is the Venomous. This shoots you out at 70 miles per hour. When a 10-year-old boy's raft went airborne though, he passed away and the slide was brought into question. The owner lied when he said he didn't know what happened. There had been no safety regulations and the owner knew it. So the owner got charged with second-degree murder.
Things people do for money.
Facts that might ruin your day. There have been at least 2 fatal plane crashes due to wasps. We are all spending more than 6 hours a day on our phones, which is more than 25% of our entire existence. There are job applications out there that are only for collecting data. This is why large companies have positions that they never actually seem to hire. This wildlife painter from the 1800s would eat all of the birds that he painted. Bald eagles, owls, sparrows, robins, whooping cranes. 5,000 mail carriers are attacked by dogs every year. A 6-year-old's family thought he was too friendly with strangers, so they had a coworker that was a stranger to the boy hold him in a truck for 4 hours before lecturing him about stranger danger. Half of all plastic in the world has been created in the last 15 years. Crayons have a derivative of beef fat called stearic acid that is also what gives it its waxy smell. Loneliness can be as harmful to somebody's health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
We have a massive update on the people that were stuck upside down for over an hour, and this will make you never want to ride a ride ever again. So this took place during a middle school field trip in Portland, Oregon, and the full story behind this gets insane. Because not only are people saying that they're never going on a roller coaster again, but that the people that were stuck upside down for so long are going to have permanent effects. Because they were on so long, and even doctors have been saying that this is going to have a lot of issues. Because with too much blood to the brain, but now the people that were on the ride are finally talking about it. This guy just said that it was really scary. This guy said, still bleeping suffering from severe migraines due to being trapped upside down for 26 minutes at Oaks Park. Another person says, I was on this ride at Oaks Park with my little brother. He fainted and still has a migraine. We were forced to finish the ride, which was awful. But this guy, Stu, left the funniest comment I've ever seen. Oh, isn't Stu so funny?
World's most
Hey man, just a little known fact about me to my seekers out there. I'm not a like avid, ride of roller coasters. It's rare, but that's just something I can't do, the heights and stuff. That's one of the reasons why I stay away from the coasters, man.
dangerous attraction.
attractions, let's go. This gap bridge in China, located in the province of Chongqing, this theme park is known for its dangerous attractions, such as this gap bridge hanging 500 feet above the ground. Your goal is to walk across it without falling, but don't worry, you're held by a harness. This cliff swing in the same park. You get to sit on the swing over this 1,000 feet cliff. The ride lasts around 5 minutes, and apparently you get to enjoy this amazing view. Caminito del Rey in Spain. This one is definitely not made for people that are scared of heights. You'll have to hike for around 4.8 miles in scary conditions. From broken path to walking on metal bars, it reminds me of the game Uncharted. Cave diving in the Iquitakni River. This river is located in Florida, which allows you to dive in a very long but narrow cave with some holes sometimes smaller than your hips. Don't go there if you have claustrophobia.
Yeah, I can't do that. That's way too small. Imagine getting stuck. Nah, I'm good on that, man. That's a place I will not be going to. Add it.
Here are some secrets hidden in everyday things. And have you ever wondered why movie theater seats are usually red? That's because in the 18th century, Italian opera houses had red seats. And this was a way to attract wealthy theater goers. Not only that, but red also has a longer wavelength for our eyes to detect. And this makes it harder to see in the dark. So when the lights go down in the movie theater, it'll all be dark. Now, bread tags actually do a lot more than just sealing the bread in the package. The different colors actually let employees know when to stock the bread. But it can also help us customers shop smarter, because each color represents a different day of the week that the bread was baked. Blue for Mondays, green for Tuesdays, red for Thursdays, white for Fridays, and yellow for Saturdays. So next time you shop for bread, make sure you pick the one that's the freshest.
Noted. We're learning.
There is so much toxic pollution in Pakistan right now that it can literally be seen from space. This was Pakistan's Punjab province and parts of northwest India in August, and this is what it looks like right now. And let me just put this into perspective. According to IQ Air, which tracks global air quality, a reading above 300 is considered hazardous to a person's health. But the air quality index in Pakistan's second largest city on Monday was 1,200. Schools and government offices have been ordered to close. There's been a ban on all outdoor activities, and tens of thousands of people have been treated for respiratory issues. In fact, recently, India's air pollution has been found to be so bad that experts have warned that this smog could take years off of the lives of hundreds of millions of people. And if you're wondering, where the hell does this smog come from? Well, it comes from a number of pollutants, including farmers burning waste, coal-fired power plants, traffic, factories, and most recently, Diwali, which saw millions of people celebrate by lighting fireworks and crackers.
The Zodiac signs that were born were to be millionaires, and the Zodiac signs that were not. Capricorns are hustlers. They work hard, and they always get the bag. No distractions, just business. CEOs in the making. Fun-loving Sagittarius. You love adventure, and we love that about you. But let's be real. Spending on travel and experiences might leave that bank account a little empty. But hey, you're rich in life experiences. Leos are natural leaders. They thrive in the spotlight, and we know money follows fame, right? They're not just here to get rich. They're here to be icons. Dreamy Pisces. You've got big ideas, but sometimes reality hits hard. Unless someone's out here funding your dreams, you might want to get those finances in check. Scorpios? Oh, they play the long game. They know how to invest, save, and strike when the moment's just right. Silent millionaires. Gemini, you've got all the ideas, but staying consistent with one plan? That's where the problem is. You might start the next big thing, but will you finish it? Follow for part 2.
You can only ride this roller coaster.
Was on that list?
This guy designed a roller coaster called the Euthanasia Coaster, and is capable of holding up to 24 passengers. Once everyone's on board, it starts slowly ascending up a massive hill, which is the tiniest bit smaller than the tallest building in America. Once the roller coaster is at the top, it gives everybody the decision to turn back. Once everybody clicks the button, it goes down the hill at 300 miles an hour, and then goes through 7 different hoops, each getting smaller and smaller. It's designed like this so riders maintain 10 Gs of force for 60 seconds. Everyone on the roller coaster's blood would rush to their feet, leaving no more blood in their brain. This causes them to lose their vision and eventually black out and die. And it's designed for people with uncurable diseases who wanted an unpainful death. Like and subscribe for more daily facts.
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. The girl in this photo was arrested for torturing and killing animals. She filmed herself doing it and even posted it online. She hanged her dogs by their collars, nailed them to walls, and even shot them with an airsoft gun.
She would then cut them open and rip out their internal organs. This sweet-looking little girl is Jeannie, also known as the Wild Child, who spent the first 13 years of her life chained to a chair, and this photo was taken moments after she'd just been rescued. This normal-looking scenic painting features the ocean with the night sky. However, it was painted by Adolf Hitler, whose dream in life was to become an artist. However, he failed the entrance exam to art school and ultimately gave up. This photo of Richard Hickok and Perry Smith shows two murderers after hearing that they'd been sentenced to death. They murdered a family of 4 and planned to rob them, but they found nothing worth stealing except for a mere $50. The girl on the left is wearing a wire. The girl on the right has no idea. Together they stabbed one of their friends to death, and the girl on the left confessed to the police and is now cooperating with them. Besides the pixelation, this looks like a couple getting married surrounded by their loved ones. However, all the children in this photo were horribly physically and mentally abused until a couple of them managed to escape.
News that will give you hope.
You never know.
This woman swept out to sea while at the beach was rescued after 37 hours of drifting over 50 miles in an inflatable swim ring. Overdoses have decreased for the first time in over 5 years. This stranger saved a 4-year-old from a flying puck at a hockey game. Every country has now banned the use of leaded gasoline in cars, with Algeria being the last one a couple years ago. Bruno was able to get a fresh start and a new life after 473 days in a shelter. A study of over 2 million people found that eating cheese is healthy for aging because of the lower stress that you experience in life. The amount of sugar consumed by kids in the United Kingdom halved in 1 year after a sugar tax was introduced. Scientists have developed a glowing dye that sticks to cancer cells, which helps scientists prevent cancer from coming back. This nearly extinct pupfish has hit a 25-year high with their population. There are less than 200 of them in one single cave in the Mojave Desert of Nevada.
Whoa. Those facts there brighten about my day. There's hope in the world yet.
Signs that are angels and
stumble across one of these historical items, you'd be an instant billionaire. Head to this temple in Kerala, India, and you'll make a lot of money, because the last person that opened a chamber here found over $20 billion worth of treasure inside.
What?
There's a catch. No one will open the 2 remaining vaults because, according to local legend, they're protected by 2 giant serpents. So if snakes aren't your thing, then perhaps try looking for the Tsar's lost treasure. Just off the coast of the beautiful Nantucket Island is a ship carrying billions worth of gold. Grab a scuba set and try, but be warned, because the shipwreck is over 80 meters deep and is infested with sharks. And finally, keep your eyes open for this skull, the Peking Man. First found in World War II, the skull is one of the most important fossils to ever be found. But the thing is, we lost it. It was last seen in 2 carefully packed crates leaving China, so if you find it, kindly bring it back and earn yourself hundreds of millions.
Wow. A
The
skull is
most
worth that
dangerous
much?
water slides in the world. This water slide was designed to have a loop at the end. However, when it was tested, riders had injuries. Many of them had nosebleeds, and a dummy was even decapitated. However, they still went on to open it to the public. But when one woman got stuck on the loop, they finally closed it down. Next, this water slide drops you 60 feet vertically. It's called the Leap of Faith. You're also sent through a shark lagoon. The sharks will swim inches away from the glass right next to you.
Imagine if the shark like got through the glass. I'm good on that.
Scary things hidden in photos.
Just a girl walking alone. But wait, she is holding someone's hand. Who is that? Siblings posing for photo. Freddy Krueger. Just friends taking picture after duty. Who is she? Normal photo of girl sitting in a bench. Slenderman was standing behind her.
These edits.
Just a photo of man. Who's that behind the door? Just a girl photo? Look closely. Just a normal photo at wedding. Who is that?
These photos, man, we learned watching these videos together with you guys, man. Photos tell a story. All you have to do is just piece it together. Some of those look like edits, though. The Slenderman one.
How to know your zodiac sign. Aries, March 21st to April 19th. Taurus, April 20th to May 20th. Gemini, May 21st to June 20th. Cancer, June 21st to July 22nd. Leo, July 23rd to August 22nd. Virgo, August 23rd to September 22nd. Libra, September 23rd to October 22nd. Scorpio, October 23rd to November 21st. Sagittarius, November 22nd to December 21st. Capricorn, December 22nd to January 19th. Aquarius, January 20th to February 18th. Pisces, February 19th to March 20th. Now you know your zodiac sign. Drop it on the comment and find your zodiac mate. Don't forget to give me a follow.
Gruesome Facts You Didn't Know, Part 212. In March of 1981, photographer Carl McCunn paid a bush pilot to fly him to a remote lake in Alaska. He packed plenty of supplies and planned to stay until August, but Carl made a fatal error. He forgot to plan a flight to pick him up. When he didn't return, worried friends had an Alaskan state trooper go and check on him. When the plane found his camp, it circled around and saw Carl waving a red bag in the air. The trooper believed he was signaling in a casual manner and didn't require any help, and he actually left. It wasn't long until Carl realized he had made another fatal error. He gave the pilot the wrong signal. As winter approached and his supplies dwindled, he considered walking the 75 miles to Fort Yukon. But in his current state, he decided against this. A week before Christmas, on December 18th, he decided to end his own life to avoid starving to death.
Dirty facts about history that school probably didn't teach you, Part 2. A French president died from a blowjob. My man Felix Fauré literally got his soul sucked out of him. It was both coming and going. The deadliest female serial killer in American history had murdered 35 people with an axe by the time she was 18 years old. When the ruler of Poland, Jadwiga, was considering a marriage proposal from the Grand Duke of Lithuania, her peers were worried because it was rumored that he had massive genitals and would kill his wife on the wedding night. They ended up sending 2 spies to Lithuania to find out if it was true, and they came back and happily reported that there was nothing to worry about. Powdered wigs were originally invented to cover up head sores caused by syphilis. The first person to examine semen under a microscope was Antony van Leeuwenhoek, the father or daddy of microbiology.
People are sending me creepy videos all the time.
Okay.
What would you do if you saw this woman while walking alone at night?
Stand to your soul.
What the was that?
Nope, not a new character. Just a super rare character that you'll probably never see. Meet the bush dog. Now at first glance, it looks like a little bear, or wolverine, but it's actually a 12-inch tall, fully carnivorous canine that's found in the Amazon. And like most canines, they're pack hunters, which makes them the smallest pack hunting canine in the world. They're basically what a Chihuahua wishes they could be. Not to mention, they hunt things like birds and rodents and even capybara. But the cool part is not what they hunt, it's how they hunt. Basically, the pack splits up into 2 groups when it comes time to hunt. One group stays on land, and the other group jump in water. They're really good in water. And the ones on land will find a prey and begin the chase. And usually the instincts of an animal who's running from a predator is to jump in water. You see where this is going? Once they jump in that water, they get ambushed. That will be their last mistake. I didn't know 12 inches could be so deadly. Other than that, we don't know too much else about them. Humans almost never see them. And as always, follow for more facts.
Interesting, man. Land and sea. Makes you wonder what other animals we haven't seen or know a lot about. Guess you're thinking.
The strangest fact about each zodiac sign. Okay, firstly, it's scientifically proven that if you're a Gemini, you're good at lying. So the next time you're around a Gemini, you might not want to believe everything they say. Alright, next, if you're a Taurus, the strangest fact about you guys is you all are known to be stalkers. The scary thing is, you might never know they're doing this. Now, this one creeps me out. Out of all the signs, Scorpios are the ones who have the most dark and creepy thoughts. But my question is, what do you all be thinking about? Well, if that wasn't bad enough, Cancers are proven to be the most dangerous. They get arrested the most, and the crimes are usually pretty serious. I'm sorry to say, but if you're a Leo, it's proven that you guys are the worst drivers. Finally, this is probably the most unusual fact of them all. If you're an Aries, it's said that you are obsessed with death. This just doesn't sit right with me.
Leos are the worst drivers? I'm gonna have to look that up.
Hot take, not gonna apologize for it. 1v1, a Wolverine would whoop a honey badger. That Streets made this aggressive bull cut the face of Black Air Force energy. Old time the Wolverine's the CEO of Cell Block D tendencies. First of all, they're more than capable of hunting for themselves, but some dudes can't be bothered to get their own bread. Instead, they gotta steal from the baker. And by baker, I mean they'll tax animals like wolves, cougars, even bears. Let me remind you, they're about the size of a medium dog, yet the crackhead courage can have an overgrown canyon cat backpedaling. And you thought honey badgers were on timing. And they are, but Wolverines, where else are you gonna find a war weasel 2v1ing a pair of wolves? But don't get it twisted, they can hunt, and they are very good at it. They've been known to murk moose by either going after one that's already injured or one stuck in the snow, since felony ferret's like a psychopath with snowshoes. And they'll track you down and run your fate like John Wick. This reindeer was injured and likely bleeding, so the travel-sized bear followed it and delivered smoke directly to the face like a cigarette. They've also been known to eat porcupines, or at least die trying. And you can even find a story of a Wolverine packing up a polar bear. Yeah, it was at a zoo, but that's still a fat W. Wolverines have this really bad habit of whenever they find something that doesn't belong to them, they'll immediately soak it with the smell of death, strong enough to make you cry fresh from its brown eye. A smell so offensive they've been nicknamed Skunk Bear. There have been stories of them breaking into cabins, blowing up the place like a truck stop bathroom, and walking out with like a sock or something. Almost forgot, this walking garbage disposal has rotated molars in the back of its mouth, meaning they can chew through solid bone and frozen meat. I'm sorry, but a motivated skunk monkey is absolutely folding an Oreo-coated temper tantrum, but that's just me.
The weirdest things found underwater, part 1. On June 18th, 2021, a woman named Jennifer Dowker was diving in the Sheboygan River in Michigan when she found a stuffed bottle. Inside it was a letter from 1926, which stated, "Will the person who finds this bottle return this paper to George Morrow in Sheboygan, Michigan, and tell where it was found?" Jennifer then posted it on social media and it went viral. After some time, George Morrow's daughter saw it and contacted her, and said that her dad must have placed the message in the bottle when he was just 18 years old. And in 1944, a boy from Estonia noticed tank tracks leading into a lake, and he saw air bubbles rising to the surface for 2 months straight. He waited for a while, but then moved on. However, decades later, he suddenly remembered that incident and told others about his memories, including the leader of the War History Club. This led to a recovery in 2000 of a Soviet T-34 World War II tank, which had been underwater since 1944.
Damn.
Accidentally knocking on the wrong door and then being murdered because of it. Well, that's what happened to 56-year-old Maria Cotto after visiting a client at an apartment building in Westchester. Maria was a caseworker for the county's Department of Social Services and was conducting home visits when she accidentally knocked on 31-year-old Hasim Jenkins' front door. When he answered the door, instead of directing Maria to the correct apartment, he punched her in the face. Maria tried running from him, but he chased her into a neighbor's apartment and he continued to kick her in the head with a pair of heavy boots. Somehow, while this was all going on, she managed to call 911, but when police arrived, Hasim claimed that Maria tried to stab him and that's why he beat her. But that never happened. She only knocked on his door because she thought that was her client's home. This poor lady suffered severe brain bleeding, brain swelling, and multiple facial fractures. She was placed on a ventilator, but unfortunately, she passed away a month later. When Hasim was arrested, Maria's phone was found in his pocket, and now he's facing a long list of charges, including second-degree murder. And something her family said, which is so sad, is that this all happened the year before Maria planned to retire.
If you ever feel like someone's watching you, they probably are. This, my friends, is the Dark Watchers. Click the plus drop a like, tag a friend, or they might find you. It is said that the Dark Watchers' faces have never been seen before. They make no noise and have never talked to anybody. But as soon as they have you in their sights, you're done for. My question to you guys is, would you still go outside?
The Dark Watchers? Hell no. I'm more vigilant.
This incestuous family took the lives of over 1,000 people. This is the true story of Wrong Turn. In the 16th century, a man named Sawney Bean decided to run away with his girlfriend to the shores of Galloway County in Scotland, where he began living in a cave, surviving by stealing food and belongings from passing tourists. Sawney Bean and his wife had children with whom they committed incest. This family began to grow, as they all had relationships with each other. Sawney Bean's clan grew to 48 people, and what they stole was no longer enough to eat. The Bean family began to take the lives of people who passed near their cave, and then eat them. For 25 years, this family survived doing this savage activity, until one day a couple was attacked by the Bean family, but the man managed to defend himself with a gun, but his wife did not survive. The man had
discovered the cave of the Bean clan, so he decided to report it to the authorities. After that, the soldiers of the King of Scotland went to the cave where they captured the whole family, and then they were condemned to be burned at the stake.
Russ McKamey from
Disgusting
McKamey
story.
Manor, one of America's most infamous haunted house attractions, was just arrested. So if you don't know Russ McKamey, this is a long, dark rabbit hole. Basically, he runs an attraction called McKamey Manor. This is run on his property, out of his house, and it has been billed as the most extreme horror experience you could possibly put yourself through. Basically, when you sign up for this, you sign your life away. Inside of this attraction, where you go on your own personal tour, they abuse people, they subject them to horrific mental torture, they force them to eat things, injure them, and do all sorts of just horrific stuff.
Not for me.
So for years, people have been questioning how this whole thing is legal, because it really does sit on the very edge of what's legal and what's illegal when it comes to physical abuse and harm. But just a few days ago, Russ McKamey, the guy that owns and operates this place, was arrested. But it wasn't for charges based on his haunted house attraction.
Whoa.
He has actually been charged with second-degree attempted murder, rape, and domestic assault. These charges are coming from Russ's ex-girlfriend, who's claiming that he tried to kill her on multiple occasions. And the arrest affidavit even states that at one point Russ allegedly strangled her out of consciousness. And on Friday, July 19th, the police said that Russ had raped his girlfriend and strangled her again, which would be the second time that he did so. So we're going to see how this case plays out. I will keep y'all updated. But this is shocking news. I mean, I've followed this story for almost 10 years now. I've always thought what he was doing was extremely bizarre and disturbing, especially the fact that he films all of these tortures, these legal tortures, and sells them to people online, which is just an even more disturbing element to me, that there are people out there that purchase this stuff and probably get off on it. But yeah, what do you think about McKamey Manor? Let me know in the comment section below.
They need to shut that place down, bro. I don't sound like a freaking haunted house. That just sounds like a damn torture chamber. And he's selling those videos online to make them profit. The signs are all right there. Just have to pay attention. Edit. Call him when we see it.
Creepiest home camera footage. In 2017, a mother in Billings, Montana woke up in the middle of the night to a notification on her phone. Her phone was synced to a baby monitor she had set up in her infant daughter's room. On this night, upon being alerted, she opened the app expecting to see her daughter awake in the crib. But instead she saw this. A man she didn't know is seen crouched down in the room. She saw this and ran to the room to retrieve her daughter and run out the house. She didn't see anyone in the room, but wasn't exactly looking. When she called the cops, they arrived and conducted a search of the home, but didn't find anything. A very odd detail is that it was found that nothing but the remote to a dog shock collar was stolen from the house. Who this man is and how he got in the house is still unknown.
So someone was definitely dead.
This is a scary story about the mistake. A girl named Kelly was on a business trip for 3 days, and she was so excited to see her husband and kid. But when she got home, the only one that was waiting for her was her kid. Kelly then asked, "Where's Daddy?" and her kid then said, "Upstairs with a girl." Kelly immediately got a pit in her stomach and walked up the stairs slowly, and then opened their bedroom door and saw her husband in there with another girl. Kelly started to scream and cry, and her husband tried to explain himself. But Kelly wasn't listening at all. And in a pit of rage, Kelly went down to the kitchen and grabbed a knife. She then went back into the room and stabbed her husband countless times. The other woman in the room was shocked and completely lost for words. Kelly then pointed the knife at her and said, "You're next." But then the woman said, "Wait, he wasn't cheating on you. He thought you weren't going to be home till tomorrow, and I'm a party planner. And he hired me to set up and throw a party for you." The woman then showed Kelly the idea her husband had. Kelly then dropped the knife and couldn't believe what she just did. Kelly then went downstairs, grabbed her kid, and left. And to this day, nobody has ever seen Kelly or her kid again.
Scary
Is that a
facts
true
you'll
story?
think about at night. Horned
Eerie.
lizards squirt blood from their eyes. The Devil's Bible is a real book. If the sun exploded, you would not know about it for 8 minutes. 20% of children report hearing voices.
Scary facts you wish you knew.
Okay.
There's a shack called the Devil's Toy Box in Louisiana. And for some reason, people who go in lose their minds. You know the tingly feeling you get when you eat a pineapple? Well, that's because the pineapple is eating you. It has an enzyme called bromelain, and that enzyme eats meat, which you're made of. I'm gonna stick to watermelon. No one can comment on this video and get 0 likes. Sharks have been around for 420 million years, meaning they have survived all 4 big mass extinctions, making them older than dinosaurs, Mount Everest, and even some trees on this planet. Yet we could potentially see them go extinct in our lifetime. The person who invented homework came up with the idea as a punishment for his students. Now you can check if your phone activity is being monitored. Just click on share, slide all the way to the end, click more, and if any apps appear before your contacts, you should delete it immediately. This is a photo of Lyndon B. Johnson. In it, he's being sworn as president, just 2 hours after JFK was unalived. And the woman he's standing next to is Jackie Kennedy, who still had her husband's blood on her shirt. Lyndon B. Johnson turned to his friend, Albert Thompson, while Albert smirked and winked back. The photographer who captured the picture called the photo completely sinister. Doja Cat scares me. Studies show that people who like and follow me get smarter every day.
That thing with bromine, man, about eating pineapples, I know like a couple of y'all had that feeling, you know, you eat pineapples, you feel something on your tongue. I was like, I've always wanted to know, like, why did that happen after eating a couple pieces of pineapple? And we know the pineapple was eating me back, bro. Learning some wild facts today, man.
I don't need a lot. Coffee's only a dime.
Oh, some stuff from back now, back in the day.
You probably didn't know about.
Oh, what the hell? Is that a skinwalker or something? We definitely heard that. What the hell? There ain't no damn dog. Okay. That one might be an edit. I'm gonna have to go cap on that last one.
Creepiest things found in movie backgrounds. In the movie It, when Ben is reading about Derry's past in the library, the elder librarian can be seen in the background turning towards him and staring at him with a deeply unsettling grin. She remains out of focus the whole time, and the movie never highlights her creepy behavior. In the movie Hereditary, when Peter wakes up in the darkened and eerily silent house, you can spot his possessed mom hovering in the corner of the ceiling and staring at him. When he turns towards the corner she is at, she is then seen crawling away in the other direction without making a sound. In the movie Insidious, Renee spots a little ghost boy through the window dancing to Tiptoe Through the Tulips. But the ghost can actually be seen before Renee spots him dancing. Right in this scene when she tosses clothes in the laundry hamper, you can see the boy standing just to her left and facing the wall.
You watched Longlegs, but you didn't quite get it. Let me help you. The movie centers entirely around the Book of Revelation, also known as the Book of the Apocalypse. And throughout the movie, Michael Monroe's character repeats a chapter of the book. The dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and I saw a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 crowns on its horns, and on each head a blasphemous name. The Unholy Trinity is made up of 3 main characters: the dragon, the beast of the sea, and the beast of the earth. This makes up a triangle, which we see Harker draw in the film, but also in the Book of Revelation, we learn that the devil's number is 666, which is why the birthday unalivings happen within 6 days of the kids' birthdays. The dragon, also known as the serpent, is Satan, and this is why we see flashes of snakes throughout the film. The beast of the sea is also known as the Antichrist, which is Longlegs. The beast of the earth is also known as the false prophet, which is Harker's mom. The Antichrist needed help from the false prophet to spread his message, which is what we see in the movie, where Longlegs needed Ruth's help to spread the message. In the Book of Revelation, it states that the false prophet is
allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, the image of the beast being the dolls. And the quote continues to say, so that the image of the beast can even speak and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. This is why the dolls have the little silver ball in their head, because it holds parts of the Antichrist in them, and the dolls and the ball are able to speak to the families. And if they didn't worship the beast, then they'd be... Since we learned that Harker's doll is still alive and holding the Antichrist in it, this is why Harker has somewhat of that sixth sense throughout the film when she's being drawn to Longlegs, and why she hears like whispering throughout the movie, because it's still able to speak to her. And at the end of the movie, you see that Harker didn't get rid of the image of the beast, so we can just assume that the Antichrist is still somewhat alive and well, and at the end, maybe this is setting up a possible sequel.
Top 5 countries with the longest school days. Australia 6.5 hours. France 8 hours. South Korea 8 hours. Kenya 8 hours. China 9.5 hours.
Could you guys imagine, man, being in school for 9.5 hours, bro? I remember when I was complaining about the freaking my school hours, man, but I couldn't survive 9.5 hours in school, bro. I couldn't.
Last words of Satanists before dying. Aleister Crowley. I am perplexed. Anton Lavey. Oh my, what have I done? There is something very wrong. David Hume. I am in flames. Voltaire. I am abandoned by God and man. I will give you half of what I am worth if you give me 6 months of life. Sir Francis Newport. Oh, that fire. Oh, the insufferable pangs of hell. Thomas Paine. Stay with me, for God's sake. I can't bear to be left alone. Oh, Lord, help me.
Ooh.
This is a scary story about Do Not Open.
Creepy last
There was an
words.
18-year-old girl named Mia who was in her first year of college. She lived alone in an apartment near her university. One night when she was doing the dishes, she got a call from her friend Pete. She picked it up and he said, "I'm bored, I want to hang out." Mia said, "Yeah, me too, come over." Pete then said he'll be over in 15 to 20 minutes. She then hung up and decided to take a shower. Mia was in the middle of shampooing her hair when she suddenly heard a loud banging on the door. She stuck her head out of the shower and said, "Come in, it's open." But a few minutes later, the banging on the door started again. She then stuck her head out of the shower again and said, "Come in, it's not locked." Just then, her phone started to ring, and it was Peter. Mia said, "I'm in the shower, why don't you stop knocking and just come in?" Peter's voice sounded extremely scared, and he said, "Do not open the door." Mia said, "Why not?" "I'm outside your apartment building," whispered Peter. "And I just saw a strange woman coming up the stairs to your apartment covered in blood and holding a knife. And she was smiling weirdly and didn't look human at all."
The term "saved by the bell" is a harmless way to describe that you barely made it through a situation. Let's talk about the terrifying history of the term "saved by the bell." Catalepsy is a medical condition where an individual experiences an uncontrolled amount of muscle rigidity and unresponsiveness. What's terrifying is family members would think that their loved one had passed and put them in a coffin, however, they were still very much alive. After having multiple people buried alive, they invented a casket where a bell was hooked on the inside of it. Once the individual who was buried in a coffin snapped out of their coma-like state, they could ring the bell and pray that someone was nearby to hear them.
Saved by the bell. Now, we've heard that before.
Top 5 countries with the most civilian firearms. By estimated number in possession. Russia 17.6 million. Pakistan 43.9 million. China 49.7 million. India 71.1 million. United States 393.3 million.
Serial killer facts that are absolutely shocking. BT.3. In the John Wayne Gacy case, there were so many bodies crammed underneath the house that the bodies melted together, and the bones had to be sorted for more than 2 years to put together the full skeletons. Pee Wee Gaskins, the most prolific serial killer in South Carolina, drove around in a hearse with a bumper sticker that read, "I hold dead people." He told people that he needed it to take the bodies of people he killed in his private cemetery. Jeffrey Dahmer didn't eat people with tattoos because he said the ink made the flesh taste weird.
Weird facts, man. First one was chilling, bro. That they freaking melted together, man. Whew.
The most dangerous dates in 2024.
Talk about it.
Rainbow sky, January 6th. Very cold day, negative 99 degrees.
Damn.
January 17th. Huge moon, January 29th. Blue moon, February 11th.
Okay.
Red yellow moon, February 25th. Lunar eclipse, March 10th. Spring thunderstorm, March 22nd. Starfall, April 5th. Bloody rain, April 16th. Star rain, May 4th. Blood moon, May 14th. Super moon, May 26th. Abnormal heat, 45 degrees, June 7th. Severe thunderstorm, June 15th. Shower from June 19th to June 22nd. Yellow moon, June 29th. Terrible thunderstorm, July 3rd. Severe thunderstorm with hail on July 11th.
Just natural disasters?
This horror game used your webcam and social media profiles in order to create your own personal horror, but it no longer exists. Let's talk about Asylum 626.
Okay.
More obscure horror games right here. Asylum 626 is the sequel to Hotel 626, and this one is even more ambitious. And yes, this was also a game to promote 2 new Doritos flavors that they were bringing back. Before playing, the game actually has you log into your Facebook profile, and it uses it in a pretty interesting way. The game will show you an image of 2 people tied up with 2 photos next to each person. And each of these photos are pictures of your friends from your Facebook profile. You basically have to choose which friend gets tortured in the asylum. There's also a jump scare scene where you have to look deep in a dirty sink, and it will actually show your webcam image as the reflection in the water. The game would also make an actual post on your Facebook page alerting which friend you chose to be tortured in the asylum. It was actually pretty interesting. It's really a shame we can't play Hotel 626 or Asylum 626 anymore. Let's talk about the...
What the hell happened to those games, man? Why did they just suddenly disappear off the net? Never used to promote Doritos. Very weird, man.
Lore behind a disturbing god from fear and hunger. The Tormented One. More unique horror games right here. Before he was one of the new gods, the Tormented One used to be a man. In fact, he was a poet who had a great reverence for the arts. However, he believed that truly beautiful art could only be created through pain and suffering, and he kept those same ideals when he completed his journey to become a god. He kept his body in a state of constant torture on purpose. However, he did not only apply these ideals to himself. This is the Red Man, and he's an example of a creature that was tortured by the Tormented One for over 100 years straight. In-game, he's barely able to crawl towards you by the time you see him. Quick fact, the rings you see around the Tormented One are actually based on some rings that you see in the final boss room of Silent Hill 4.
Horses are much bigger than people, so naturally they just have a lot more blood than we do. So whenever horses get nosebleeds, it ends up looking like a whole crime scene. So one of the only reasons we know how many people died in the Titanic are the shoes that are laying on the ocean floor. Some are pretty cool, others are kind of depressing. And the reason we count the shoes instead of, bones is because when the Titanic hit the floor, all the corpses kind of just scattered and the fish ate the corpses, but the fish couldn't eat the shoes. If you ever decide to go climb Mount Everest, I hope that you remember that the crevices in the ice are V-shaped. Which means if you were to ever accidentally fall down one, you more than likely wouldn't die instantly. Your body heat would melt the ice around you, causing you to slip further and further down until your chest couldn't expand enough to breathe. So make sure you bring a friend just as crazy as you to help get you out.
If the bone in the leg breaks and shatters completely, here's how doctors fix it. Let's find out. First, the person is anesthetized to prevent pain. The doctor makes an incision over the leg at the location of the break, then extracts the entire bone. Holes are made above the knee and on the side of the leg, and then an intramedullary rod is inserted between the bones in such a manner. Subsequently, this intramedullary rod is fixed with metal in a way that it does not move. Afterward, a hole is made above the bone and a wire is threaded through it. Then a tourniquet circular friction lathe machine is attached over the leg, and these wires are connected to it. This machine has 2 bolts on the sides, which function like buttons. When these are turned, the machine starts to separate the bones. Thus, bones that had been misaligned and entangled due to the injury are separated and straightened with the help of this machine. And within a few days, the bone starts to heal.
Weird process, man. I can't even imagine having to go through that. Rotting your leg.
This is insane. The big Texan.
These are scary cartoon truths that would terrify you.
Texan?
Part 10. Okay, so Hello Kitty was created back in the 1970s by a Chinese woman whose daughter had cancer. The doctors told the mother there was nothing she could do, and her daughter will die. The mother then went to every church and prayed for her daughter, but none of it worked. The mother then became very desperate and turned to devil worshipping and satanic rituals. She then made a pact with the devil himself. But if the devil cured her daughter's cancer, he wanted one thing in return. He wanted her to create a cartoon character to appeal to children all over the world and to trick people into worshipping the devil. And when her daughter recovered from cancer, she kept her promise and created Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty is no mouth because her daughter had mouth cancer. Her pointy ears represent the devil's horns. The word kitty means demon in Chinese, so Hello Kitty actually means hello demon.
The more you know, man. You made a deal with the devil.
Strange insectoid creatures were scattered across large segments of Chicago's oldest sewer system. They were forming true nests of creatures that had never seen the light of day, feeding on waste, moisture, and in ways that have not been possible to determine.
Is this an edit, y'all? I think we're gonna have to go with edit. Cause you definitely would have seen something, right? Heard about it.
The following records revealed the presence of hyperdeveloped creatures inhabiting the tunnels. Contact with these creatures was mostly through probes with cameras, although on some occasions.
I'm gonna have to go cap on that one.
3 little girls were murdered in a dance class by a teenager, and 10 others were injured. Of course, that teenager was arrested, but official sources never identified who this guy is exactly. There were several protests and riots in the UK across several cities in the country, and there was a mosque that was destroyed and burned down as a form of revenge because of what happened in Southport. About 1 day later after this incident, the government, the media, and the police have officially identified who the killer is. He's a teenager named Axel Udakubana from Rwanda. That is a Christian, not a Muslim, a Christian. Are you gonna burn down a church now that you know he's a Christian? Is that the natural response we as people should have? Official sources confirmed who's the person behind this misinformation. And let me tell you, this is how dangerous misinformation can be. It can lead you to do the wrong things. The person behind this misinformation is Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson is an anti-Islam activist. Most of the biggest platform he has is on X, Twitter. That was where he tweeted that this guy, the murderer, was a Muslim. And you know, because of his contribution to the misinformation, these riots happened. And innocent people were injured. And a mosque was burned down. I'm not sure if it was one or more than one. To be honest, I don't even know the guy. I just heard of him today from an official news site that said Tommy Robinson was the main contributor to the misinformation that led to these riots. People are so gullible to be really. Like, I mean this with no offense, but you guys are. it's really bad.
Project is definitely one of those. It's one of the most disturbing experiments I've ever read about. Sometime in July of 2003, there was a government document that was declassified that talked about an experiment that took place back in 1945, post-war. It was led by Dr. Albert Weston and a team, and their task was to create a biological weapon out of a human. And for some reason, he decided the subject of this experiment was going to be his daughter, Abigail. It was a series of months where she was fed growth hormones, they gave her classified substances, and she had her entire body surgically modified. But the experiment was a failure. She had completely lost touch with who she was no longer cognizant of what was going on, and most of her instincts had reverted into primal instincts. Considering what the doctor had done to his daughter, he would take his life after 2 years into the experiment, and according to these documents, the experiment, meaning her, was lost. Nobody really knows what happened to her.
Never say this out loud, or you will die. There's a cursed Japanese poem called Tomino's Hell. And supposedly, if you read it out loud, you will die or be cursed for life. Now, you can read it in your head. This is where things get crazy. A man named Suji Teriyama decided to make and direct a movie based on the poem. Exactly 1 week after the release of the movie, he suddenly dropped dead. By the way, y'all, I asked y'all to name our new baby, and the highest voted name was Steve. So I guess when this guy hatches, his name will be Steve.
Since we got this baby together, you do owe me child support.
Now this other story is also crazy. There was a schoolgirl that was dared to say the poem out loud. Look, you got friends daring you to do stuff like that. You need to get rid of them. Literally 1 week after doing the dare, she suddenly dropped dead.
Woo, look at that, baby. Look at that. Sheesh.
I flashed the poem somewhere in this video, but I'm telling you, if you find it, don't read it out loud. Or I'm gonna come to your funeral and tell everybody you're stupid. You're stupid.
Okay. Stay away from that poem, Seekers.
This is the scary story about It Won't Hurt, and it's absolutely shocking.
Alright.
There was a bus driving late at night, and it was completely packed full of people. Suddenly, an old woman on the bus became ill, and she asked the bus driver to stop the bus. They were on a country road surrounded by a forest, so the driver told her to wait. But the old woman began to throw a fit, screaming and yelling at the bus driver, demanding him to stop the bus. The bus driver then pulled over to the side of the road, and the old woman got out and ran into the woods. When the old woman came back from the woods, she was holding a little girl's hand who was crying. When they got back on the bus, everybody asked the little girl what was wrong. She said her mother brought her into the woods and placed her on a tree, then tied a rope around her neck and said, "Whenever you get bored, just jump. Don't worry, it won't hurt."
What?
The old woman said she didn't know why, but she felt something was wrong in the woods. And when she got in the woods, she caught the girl while she was jumping. The bus driver then began to drive again, and he suddenly saw a young woman standing on the road. He then stopped the bus. When the young woman got on the bus, the little girl stood up and said, "Mommy, you promised it wouldn't hurt."
Oh, hell no. Looks like they saved it from her mom, man. What the hell? Creepy story. With the world today, man.
On May 29th of this year, Natalie Reynolds went live on Kick, and shortly after it started, she is seen trying to convince a woman to jump into the lake. The woman then claims that she cannot swim but only float. Natalie then says,
"I'll give you $20. $20? Yeah, that's a.
The woman then jumps into the water, followed by the staff running down the dock, and Natalie acts as if she wasn't just trying to convince the woman to jump in the water. Instead of helping the woman that she knows cannot swim, her and her friends leave the scene and are making jokes about the fact that Natalie thought she was just drunk and not mentally ill.
"I can't swim. I can only float."
She literally died.
No, stop. Seriously, don't stop. Please, you're actually freaking me out. No. She said she's drowning. She said she's drowning.
I think you literally just heard her.
No, I didn't.
Nah, this is bad.
What the hell?
Since then, Natalie has received a lot of hate, and several people are claiming she should be charged with attempted murder. What are your thoughts? Let me just...
That's crazy, man. You know, kick streaming, bro. Those kick streamers, I've been hearing a lot about them. How they just be doing like degenerate stuff on the internet. They be doing anything and everything for clout views. That goes to show you, man, how far a person would do just to get some attention. That's actually insane.
ask you, can you tell that there is something wrong with the picture that I'm going to show you? This one is really interesting. So the information I could find on the photo is that we think it was taken by a realtor. He had gone alone to basically inspect a home that was foreclosed on that he was about to put on the market. What's odd about this photo is that if you look at it really closely, you're like, the photo is kind of blurred, like it was taken in motion, because in the background there is something very wrong. Quickly before we get into it, thank you so much for all of the support for my podcast, Creep Time the Podcast. You don't even know how to process being top 10 in the country. That is incredible. If you have not listened, go click the link in my bio. Seen in the background of that photo, it was very clear that he was not alone in that basement. Although he claimed he didn't see anything, he just got a strange feeling, so he kind of took the photo and then rushed out of the room. But this person was confirmed to not be the homeowner. So who was hiding out in that basement?
Who was that? He didn't even see him there?
This is the disturbing cryptid iceberg with actual evidence behind it. Would have posted this video sooner, but it was my birthday 2 days ago and I was out of town, so I'll make sure I give you guys some good ones to make up for me being gone. Okay, so this picture represents cryptids from the least disturbing to the most, and we've already covered this one, so we're gonna go on to tier 3.
Okay.
This is the Dave Shealy's 2000 skunk ape footage, and what you're seeing is in the Florida Everglades, and you can see this skunk ape just moving. I mean, look how quick it is walking. A lot of people believe that this footage is real just because if you've ever been to the Florida Everglades, there's no way somebody can move that fast. Next one is the ivory-billed woodpecker video, and this was an animal that was supposed to be extinct I don't know how many hundreds of years ago, and this one is actually confirmed. It's going to be a little tough to see, but you'll see over here this little bird flying like this. I don't know, it's pretty cool to me. This is the Pennsylvania white Bigfoot video, and what you're looking at is supposed to be a Sasquatch. I don't know, it doesn't really look like Bigfoot to me. The interesting about this video is when they posted this video, they put a white Sasquatch was a really big claim, but what they didn't know is in 1973, 2 girls reported seeing the exact same white Sasquatch in basically the same spot. If you guys want to see tier 4, make sure to like and follow for more videos, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. If your plane is crashing into the water, just know that flight attendants are trained to not allow any dead bodies on life rafts. That means no saving grandma for her funeral, simply yeet that bitch overboard. What? 1 out of every 50 women have a third nipple, and 1 out of every 100 men do too. This is known as a supernumerary nipple, and Mark Wahlberg actually has 1. Harry Styles has 2. Your baby foreskin can be used as replacement skin for burn victims. That means 1 can quite literally be a dick face. There are corn stars born in the year 2003. That's the same year The Cat in the Hat came out. Male fetuses get boners in the womb, and these can often be seen on ultrasounds. Motherfucker. After 49 people were killed at the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, cops were investigating the scene, and you'd think it'd be pretty quiet in there. But it was actually filled with sounds of ringing cell phones. Friends, family members, loved ones, calling the people that they knew were at Pulse and hoping they'd answer the phone and say they were okay.
Crazy. I didn't know in males in the future they get boners when in the fetus. What the hell? That young? I didn't even know that was seemingly possible. What the more you know. Tap in, you're gonna learn with us.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest.
On May 26, 2020, Clint Brower went to a laundromat to do some laundry when he noticed a man acting suspicious. That man was Micah Harrington. According to reports, Clint believed Micah had intentions to hurt people, so Clint pulled out a knife and stabbed him over 30 times. And to be clear, Micah never acted out in violence. He then tied a rope around Micah, dragged him into the parking lot, having hopes that someone would, quote, put him back together. If that doesn't make sense to you, it also doesn't make sense to me. When police arrived, Clint was arrested and Micah was pronounced deceased. The mugshot in itself is eerie to know that he was smiling just after taking an innocent man's life. And as of Monday, June 3rd, 2024, Clint has been sentenced to life in prison. What are your thoughts?
Saw the report. Scientists found the largest male specimen of the most venomous spider in the world in Australia. This is the funnel web spider, and the size of it is disgusting, but the thing that freaks me out about it is the strength of the damn thing. We're talking fangs so sharp they can apparently crack through a fingernail. A fingernail? What? And nothing prepared me to actually see a close-up of the fangs. Maybe this is a woolly mammoth.
Creepy facts that you shouldn't read. Your mind mind gets sense when someone is staring at you even when you're asleep. Which explain why you randomly wake up during the night. Spirits are more active at night and mostly exist in air-conditioned rooms. They look and stare at you at night. They read your mind and try to speak and show your future dreams. Follow if you're scared.
Has that happened to any of you guys, Seekers? Especially about, like, you know, waking up at night?
Breaking news, they've officially released Riley Strain's toxicology results. This information was released today by the Tennessee's chief medical examiner. The report shows that Riley Strain's blood alcohol level was more than twice the legal limit. His blood alcohol level was .228, and he also had Delta-9 in his system. Delta-9 is a classic form of THC. This would be the THC you heard about in health class growing up. The effects of Delta-9 are typically increased appetite, elation, relaxation, talkativeness, and laughter. The report still classifies Riley Strain's passing as accidental, and there were no signs of significant trauma. His exact COD is listed as, quote, drowning in ethanol intoxication. Riley Strain's family is doing their own investigation into his passing to see if he was overserved or if any foul play took place. To stay up to date on this case, make sure you click the playlist below. I'll keep you guys updated. What do you think? Drop in the comments.
Did you know that the Crypt Keeper from Tales of the Crypt actually has Chucky's eyes? The dolls were made by the same person, and when HBO started running out of money to make the show, they needed him to just start using parts he had lying around, so the doll's actually made with a lot of the animatronics that Chucky used and his eyes. Now you know.
The murder of McKinley Chick-fil-A Marie has to be my favorite case of all time. Like, I actually get butterflies in my stomach every time I revisit this case. I'm just so fascinated by the killer. He was so dedicated. He was gorgeous. Super, super dreamy. Like, if he wasn't behind bars, I would probably be with him. And just how dedicated he was to chopping her into bits and pieces. I mean, he really had no remorse, and we almost have to appreciate that. Like, the fact that he carried this chainsaw around for miles and miles, and after chopping her up, it just wasn't enough that he decided to also set on fire. I'm like, there's something hot about that. Siri, play This Girl Is on Fire. We can make jokes now, guys. It's been a long time. The best part about this is that this killer had no remorse. During the court hearing, he actually sat and looked her family members dead in the eyes. Dead, get it, guys? And he actually just laughed the entire time. And you know what? I can appreciate a man who doubles down. Also, disclaimer before people get their panties in a twist, I'm being super, super respectful of the family. I'm only sharing things that I've seen already on the internet, so I'm not making things up. These are just facts, and I just want to share that with you guys.
That was a POV they said of how, you know, some, I guess, how they be acting when they explaining these videos. You know, some of them, yeah, they have to, actually all of them need to have respect to the families on what they reporting on, because it's really affecting people. Words have power. Remember that. Edit. You know how to spot them out.
So check this out. A YouTuber just found the devil in Alaska. What? The footage at the end is the scariest thing I've ever seen, fam. It's crazy. It's crazy. Luke Nichols, a popular YouTuber from the United States, has just encountered Satan himself in the mountains of Alaska. This is the reason nobody wants to visit Alaska, bro. This is terrifying. So Luke, known for his love for the outdoors, a veteran for outdoor extreme camping and survival, getting the nickname Luke the Nuke Nichols. He had been exploring the Alaskan mountains nearby the Noam territory. The fierce weather conditions made his trip more difficult. He was out on his snowmobile on his way to catch some fish with his son when suddenly they came across a random hole in the ground. They were terrified. They immediately turned back but heard a voice calling out. He turned around, and within the darkness of the night he saw horns, then flames, and realized he was staring into the eyes of the devil. He took out his phone to video it. To see the video, comment Mr. Nightmare, and we will send it via DM.
Oh. Is that fact a cat?
Has anybody ever heard of the Silent Man ritual? It's a ritual that you should never do. Who is a Silent Man, you may ask? The Silent Man is a demon that was casted down from heaven, a demon that hates noise. Many people say if you play this game and win, you'll gain never-ending good luck and fortune. However, many people who played and lost say that they've got everything in their lives, everything good, taken away from them. But not only that, but a lot of people who play the Silent Man ritual have reported that they've actually lost their voice over time after playing this game. If you look at it, it makes a lot of sense. The Silent Man hates noise. They say to call upon the Silent Man. First step is to turn off all the electronics in your house. The second step is to light a candle and go to a window. Supposed to whisper quietly at the window. Silent Man, I invite you in. Say around 25 times. Now you have to understand, to win this game, that you have to stay quiet. You'll see a man outside your window. The more noise you make in your house, the closer this man will get to your house, until he's inside your house. This is why I recommend nobody to play this game. Do you guys think I should play this game on live stream? Then heart this video and follow my account. Let me know in the comments.
Y'all, this picture...
I never play those freaking games, those ritual games. That's just like bad energy, bad juju all around. I completely stay away from those, man. I don't see how people can even risk that. That ain't me.
It makes me so sad but so happy at the same time. But this is an updated photo of the Menendez Brothers. If y'all are not familiar with the Menendez Brothers case, it is an old case. I really feel like they should not be in prison for what they did. But they unalived their parents and they got charged with it. And after going to court and talking about basically that they were SA'd over the course of their childhood, and the reason why they did this is because it got really bad and they felt like they had no other way out. They were still convicted of it and charged with, I believe, life in prison. But there have been a lot of petitions to get them out of prison and get, you know, a retrial or consideration to let them out or give them lesser time or something, because these men have been in prison for like so long. And look at them, y'all. They look so good. Like, this makes me so, I don't know why this picture makes me so happy.
What do you guys think about that case? Like I said, a lot of people's calling for their release. They got out. I want to see you guys' thoughts down below on that one. They fled. Tax money. The root of all evil. Maybe that's how they was able to afford that house and that car. Tax fraud. They just got up and vanished like ghosts and they couldn't catch you? The whole mansion. They just had to pack up and disappear. So they got away with it. They didn't even get caught. Come on, man. You got to be on top of things like that, so people can't get away with that, man. Lived in that big ass mansion, had all those cars.
At 3:15 a.m. Okay. You might be cursed. Like, why though? Legit. So I don't know if you ever heard about the Amityville House. No. This is a real haunted house. I believe in the States somewhere. So they claim this house to be one of those houses that is truly attached to demons. Now the story goes that there was this man. They said a voice came to his head and told him to murder his 3 family members, his 2 daughters, and his wife. Now it's weird.
Why would somebody even get a property like that if it's that connected? That type of energy and spirits. That runs through my mind every single time I hear like people get into houses like that. Like, would you guys even want to stay there? Put your family around that type of energy too? Nah. Not me.
I ended up moving in there. Now this family, they were haunted for years.
Yeah,
probably.
The 16-year-old girls that brutally unalived their best friend because they didn't like her anymore. Skylar Neese may have been an only child, but she had a sister-like bond with her best friend Sheila. The girls were like two peas in a pod and did everything together. Their freshman year of high school, they added a third best friend, Rachel, making them an inseparable trio. Like most friend groups in high school, there was some jealousy, like if two of the friends hung out and did invite the third, stuff like that. And that's how Skylar was feeling going into their sophomore year of high school. Like Sheila and Rachel were getting closer and kind of kicking Skylar out. Then, in the middle of the night on July 6, 2012, Skylar snuck out of her house and never came home. Skylar was missing. Her parents are panicked. Her best friends Sheila and Rachel are acting concerned as well. Sheila would spend a lot of time with Skylar's parents, supporting them, crying with them, asking for updates, and asking if there was anything she could do to help. And the longer that Skylar was missing, the more that rumors started to spread. From things like Skylar ran off with a boyfriend, to Skylar fled after robbing a bank, to Skylar's best friends, Sheila and Rachel, were involved. At this point, the investigators were actually pretty convinced that Sheila and Rachel knew more than they were letting on. Both of the girls' stories were nearly identical, like they had been rehearsed. At this point, the police's theory was that the three girls snuck out the house to maybe use substances and something accidentally happened to Skylar, and Sheila and Rachel were just covering it up because they were scared of getting in trouble. They could have never prepared for what actually happened. Following Skylar's disappearance, Sheila was pretty carefree, but Rachel, on the other hand, was having a nervous breakdown and had to be admitted to a psychiatric facility. And upon release, Rachel confessed that her and Sheila had stabbed Skylar 50 times and had planned the attack for months. And even more shocking was their motive, that they didn't like her anymore and didn't want to be friends with her. To this day, Sheila has never shown any remorse to what she did to her best friend and is seen as the evil ringleader and was sentenced to life in prison. Due to Rachel's confession, she was sentenced to 30 years in prison. She was up for parole very recently, but it was denied. But I'm really curious to hear what you guys think. Do you really think that two 16-year-old girls would brutally unalive their best friend just because they didn't want to be friends with her anymore? I feel like there has to be more to this story.
That's a shapeshifter. Story time. Growing up in Haiti, or anyone who has Haitian parents can tell you that there is such a thing as shapeshifters, loup-garous in Haiti. And that is the reason why they also tell you whenever you hear a cat sounding like that outside your house at a certain time at night, you should not go outside to go see what's wrong with the cat, because usually it's not a cat, and you will not live to see or tell the story of what you would witness. So I remember one time we were all in the house. It was late, very, very late. Usually we will stay up even though we cannot be outside at a certain time. If you go to Haiti, you should always listen to the locals when they tell you do not go at a certain area, to a certain area, or at a certain time go outside. Because trust me, you won't make it back in the house. And I'm not even over-exaggerating. But anyway, so we were all in the house. We were young, but there was a bunch of grown-ups in the house also. Everybody's sleeping, and we were all waking up by this big boom that was on top of the house. And in Haitian houses in Haiti, they actually don't have real roof like we have here, but they have metals. So any little thing you can hear it. Even if the rain, we usually were able to fall asleep with the rain sound because it's just so loud and it's so soothing and all that stuff. But when the nightmare starts, trust me, you will hear every single thing. So we're sleeping and we're all waking up at this boom. Even the children, you know how children can sleep real well, right? They sleep through everything. We all were waking up. But the grown-ups already know because they're so used to it. And also we know a well-known loup-garou in the town that everybody could respect because we know how powerful she is. And a lot of people have been taken out by her, but they can never prove that it was her until one day. So anyways, we're all sleeping and we're waking up by this sound. And we just hear footsteps on top of the house just walking as if you know, grains falling in the house, but it's real loud footsteps, just walking, and all the adults just start praying, and the children were just scared because we're so used to hearing stories about that happening, and eventually it happened to us. So we're scared, and the adults are praying, even though voodoo is a religion in Haiti, they still pray. A lot of people pray but still practice voodoo because that's really our religion. Just like the Catholic people, they also practice voodoo, but also they tell you that it's bad. Anyways, So they're praying, they're praying, they're praying. The children are trying to figure out what's going on. While the baby, my aunt had a baby that was just a few weeks old, not even a month, a few weeks old. The baby just kept crying non-stop. And they usually, whenever they come in on top of your house, they're coming for the baby, not children who are a certain age. They're coming for the innocent, right? So the baby's crying. The people are praying, so there's a lot going on, and the noise on top and everything. All of a sudden, the noise stopped, but we hear a cat right by the door, literally right at the door, right? This cat just sounded like a baby. It's literally almost matching the sound of the baby that's crying. The cat sounded like a baby, scratching at the door, making noises, scratching at the door, making noise, and that's when the prayers started louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. And eventually the children fell asleep because the cat just kept going. I fell asleep because I was young at the time. Then eventually we heard the story the next day, but then what really made us believe it is what we saw the next day, what we experienced the next day. So we fell asleep. The adults, I guess, continued to do whatever they were doing. The next day we wake up to the horror of everything. The baby that was crying was basically covered in ants, covered head to toe, ants eating the baby's skin, everything. I mean, I should have given you guys a warning. Eating everything. But of course, everything is still intact, but the skin is ant mark, bite marks from the ants. Baby, gone. Pass. Don't know why, don't know how, but the baby's gone. What happened last night happened. Next morning, wake up, baby's gone. And that was the first child that my aunt lost. And then finally after that, she just kept losing children up until 7 kids. She lost 7 kids until she actually stopped having kids. Every time one passed, she has another one. Every time one passed, I'm like, as someone who has common sense, you would think, okay, I'll stop after maybe the 3rd or 4th one. Well, she just kept having children. Eventually, she decided, okay, well, I'm not going to have any more kids if I'm going to keep losing them. But when she had her first son, which is the oldest child, that child survived because she didn't live in the house. She didn't live in that town when she had that child, so that child survived. But eventually, she lost her life to the same thing. And also, I lost my godmom to the same thing. I have a story for that. Also, my older sister who lives right now in the United States, we almost lost her to a neighbor who was practicing brujeria, voodoo. Very good person, good people, but it was a mistake that happened, and we were able to figure it all out. If you guys want to hear about that story, I will tell you. But my mom even sent money for us to buy like coffin for her, preparing for her funeral and everything. Now she's a nurse. Anyway, guys, bye.
Whoa. I mean, that's a shocking story, Seekers. Like I said, we heard that cat sounding like it definitely was sounding like a person, man. She broke it down for us. What do you guys think, man? We've seen like skinwalkers before, but they said this is shapeshifter, so are they like different things? 2 separate things? Talk about it down below.
Story time on the time that I saw my neighbor who had already passed away going to go get water while I was on my way back from getting water to go to the house. And when I got to the house, I found out that she had passed away that morning, and I didn't even know that. So this was kind of crazy. I'm laughing because I couldn't sleep for a good month and a half after all this happened, right? So I told the story during Halloween a couple years ago on YouTube, and the feedback was crazy. So I figured I'll just bring it back since TikTok people don't know about it. So going back to Haiti, I was very, very young. We had this neighbor that used to sell those things that you will light up at night if you have mosquitoes. They shake like a snake. I don't know what they're called. Maybe if you know, let me know in the comment below. But she used to sell those things, and one day she just fell sick. Very, very sick. We just never saw her. We will go to her. So every time we order, this person will come to the door and give us what we need. But Sister Mary, which is the lady who always gives us the things that we need, just hasn't been showing up. But as a child, I'm like, okay, well, it's her house. Maybe she's either in the house, don't want to come out, or she went to the next town over to go visit her family. And hey, that's a normal thing. You can just go visit your family for like 6 months and then come back, right?
Okay.
So eventually my aunt came and told us that Sister Mary, that was her name, is not feeling well. She's at home, but she's just not feeling well. As children, we just let it go. Okay, well, Sister Mary's sick, whatever. Well, one day, I was sent to get water. It was my turn to go get water. So the way to go get water is basically, it's like 15 minutes away, but you do carry the water, and we take turn in the house as children. They sent different people different days, right? So this one particular day, it was early in the morning, they sent me to go get water. I'd say maybe, well, not really early, it was summertime. I'd say around like 10, 11. They sent me to go get water. I went to go collect water.
Right.
And as I was coming back from collecting water, I'm walking down. It's 15-minute walk. I'm carrying the thing on top of my head. I'm walking down, and I saw someone who looks like Sister Mary. And my aunt was saying how rough she was. She's losing a lot of weight, blah, blah, blah. But when I saw this person, she looked just like I remember Sister Mary to be, like how she was before, you know, thick. You know, she wasn't like fat, but she was thick. You know, she looked fine. She looked normal. She didn't look sick. So I saw her. I said hello to her. We're talking. And, you know, I told her, we haven't seen you. We heard that you were sick. Yeah, so we heard that you were sick. How are things doing? You look like you're doing much better now. And she answered me like normal, like someone she knows, right?
Okay.
So I just went on about my business. I told her have a good day. She told me she was going to go collect water, and she had the bucket in her hand and everything. So I told her have a good day, and I continued on my merry way. So I ended up going home that day, and I told my sister, I'm like, yo, you will never guess who I just saw at the water thing, right? So I told her a whole story about this lady that I just saw, and we know her because she's our neighbor. So I'm like, yeah, I saw her. You know, she looked good. I don't know what Aunt was talking about because she doesn't look sick. Her eyes literally opened up as if she just saw a ghost. I'm like, what's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that?
Okay.
She says, oh, nothing. So I'm like, okay. I just went about my day and continued doing whatever I was doing until a few minutes later, I hear people screaming and yelling. Well, the news have been spreading in the whole town that Sister Mary has passed away. I'm looking at my sister and I'm thinking, what the fuck? What do you mean Sister Mary passed away? I just saw Sister Mary. What do you mean? And she looked fine.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's yelling. Nobody's telling me what's going on. And then finally, my sister told me, oh, yeah, Sister Mary died this morning. I'm like, there's no way. How could Sister Mary die this morning? I just told you I saw her this morning. She's like, well, that's the crazy thing because you're telling me you just saw her and Sister Mary died before you went to go collect water.
Ghost confirmed? Spirit?
From there on, I kid you not, I could not speak. I could not move. Everything was crazy.
Here we go. Man, what do you guys think about that story? Was that like a ghost or she communicating with spirit or something? Like, imagine she was talking to a person, but they already passed, so who is she talking to?
Virginia teen
Insane.
dies after she tried to summon the Haitian voodoo god Papa Legua. So Love decided to dabble in the darker voodoo arts, but she ain't got no knowledge of how this thing really go. This is why you gotta watch when you practicing something without having a self-evaluation journey that you've been on, you hear me? I don't know why you thought summoning an African descendant god will help you. Papa in Haiti is known as the Great Executioner, and it's said that he could speak many different languages and persuade people at his will. And once again, he resides at the spiritual crossroads. So let me give y'all some people some insight every time you face with a difficult decision you gotta make. Rather that being life or death decisions or career-based decisions. Quit thinking about calling on some deity gonna point you in the right direction if you haven't done the self-work. Because you could get fooled by a spirit that you might think is holy and lovely for a spirit that's there to take over your will. So she gets in a Facebook group and start telling the people that she's about to start doing new spell work and ain't nothing wrong with trying new things. Alright. And I quote, let people have their own religion. So she started telling people, stop saying I'm from God or you can be from God. I'm wicked and I always will be. So shut the F up and let me do what I want to do. Alright. Now wicked means a religion influenced by pre-Christian beliefs and the practices of Western Europe that affirms the supernatural powers. It's a form of paganism. And this has nothing to do with voodoo practices. So now I guess her ex must have get into it and had a fallout. So she get on Facebook talking about she about to go put her ex on her ex-girlfriend. Now mind you, her ex-girlfriend is African American. Let me give you a little quick insight on when to put spells on people or hex work on people. And they kind of taught you that on Vampire Diaries with Bonnie. Now remember when she spoke with her ancestors and her ancestors told her, if you keep drawing power from your ancestors, it's going to be a blowback to that. which is why when Bonnie would use her powers, her nose would start bleeding. Because whatever you take from nature, you must replenish back, which is called the circle of life, baby. Now here's an example up here where somebody also was trying to use that voodoo stuff and it fired back on them. I prayed for lots of money even though I had money. I was greedy and I stopped my voodoo sacrifices. I was punished by losing my leg in an accident. I'm getting money which is worthless to me. I'd rather have my legs back. The woman I wanted to marry left me because of my leg. I lost my promising career and I had to totally change my college studies for a degree that was worthless to me. All because I messed with the spirits. And you keep on playing and not listening, you're gonna learn the hard way, baby. So back to Kate. So now we get a picture where she tried to make a voodoo doll that looked like her. Got the girl hair twisted like dreads. We don't know what petition she wrote. We don't know if she had needles in the doll. She might have even had her real hair samples in the damn doll, you hear me? Now I want to know, baby, what in your right mind think that you can call on an African deity to do some harm to an African person and you are a European woman? In what world do you think that makes sense, baby? Like, come on now, love. And then people tried to warn you before doing this. They told you not to go along with this. They told you not to move forward with this. Practicing other people's African spirituality when you're not African is dangerous. So now I start getting right. You saw Papa Lego today, huh? You thought you saw him. And that's the problem. You getting indulged in something where you never was initiated inside the culture, mama. You gotta think, man. Nah, Kayla was a beautiful woman, had a beautiful soul. She done a lot for her community. She was a stand-up woman. She just got involved in some things without the proper knowledge that led to some bad outcome. Nah, so Caitlin eventually died in a bathtub, and she left behind a beautiful daughter named Aaliyah, which is very sad, baby. She adored her daughter greatly. Just for her daughter to have to go through that, prayers and condolences to her family. Now later on, a few spiritual leaders did a reading on the woman and noticed that she wasn't summoning Papa Legua, but Barun. And because of shows like American Horror Story, where they gave you a mixture of Barun and Papa Legua, they had you thinking that he was Papa Legua, but Papa Legua on American Horror Story, that was actually depicted as Barun.
What do you guys think of that story, man? He broke it down. All the way down, man. He went more definite on that story.
Good morning. It's 9:34 in the morning, so it's time for another story. And this time the story is being recorded late because I spent my entire morning talking about the anguish of what it means to be a black woman in America. So today calls for a feel-good story, and I'm going to tell you the most popular folktale in Haiti. That's right.
Okay.
It's the Little Mermaid, but darker. This most likely will be divided in 3 parts or 4 because I'm taking a lot of time to talk about. But just so you understand, the majority of the time the story is being told, the protagonist is a fish. But usually as you grow up, it makes more sense that the protagonist is a mermaid or a merman. Most of the time the protagonist is male because the leading romance protagonist, the second one, is a woman who goes to the water. She's a little girl. But at times you will find that the protagonist is a mermaid, a woman, because the leading person that's going to be the love interest is a little boy. Alright, let's get started. The Little Mermaid, with a Haitian epice. Also, a lot of Haitians believe in mermaids. So there was a young girl, and we're going to call her Rose, who had a brother named Richard, a younger brother. Every morning they would go to the spring to get water to do their daily chores. Whether that's cooking, cleaning, whatever they needed the water for, they would go to the river to get it. One morning, Rose heads to the river by herself, and as she's getting some water, she has a ring, a silver ring on one of her fingers, obviously, and it slips down and it falls in the stream. Now, she was really fond of this ring, so obviously she's really sad. She's like, oh my god, I lost my ring, wah. And then as she's like frantically looking for it, out pops the head. And in this story, I'm going to make him a mermaid. So out pops a little head. And so as the head goes up, she realizes it's a fish. It's a man, but it's a fish. And the fish spits up her ring. So she takes the ring and she thanks the fish. And the fish, shockingly to her, speaks. The fish says, hi, I'm Tizin. And she says, hi, I'm Rose. Tizin says, this is my water. This is my spring. If you want water, like clean water, because your water is clean, but I know where the real good shit is. If you want better water, you could just holler at me and I'll go get it for you. And she goes, oh, thank you. But how do I holler at you? And so he teaches her this little song. And so he goes, if you ever need to reach me, sing this song. Tezin, mon ami, tezin. Tezin, mon ami, tezin. You get it? It literally translates to tezin, my friend, tezin. But in the book, she has it written in a more like, I don't know. She has it written how she wants. But that's how I remember the song. Part 2.
So, this happened in Miami. And yeah, I still live in Miami. I was like around 6 or 7. This was like back in 2000, I think 2006, I believe. So we used to stay in this building. And in the building, it used to be full of Haitians, full of Haitians. If you're Haitian and you know what's a Loup-garou, then you know what I mean. So, it was one night, it was me and my brother, we was in the room, we was sleeping, my mama and my dad was in their room. Okay. So it was like 2, I would say like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We sleeping, we little kids, we sleeping, blah, blah. Then randomly something happened. Bruh, something told us to get up. We woke up, literally, me and him woke up. And I swear, bruh, this Loup-garou lady, bruh, we've been having problems with for the longest. She was in our room. Like, she was literally in our room, bruh. Like, literally in our room. Staring at us. And we was on the wall. We, like, the TV right here and the wall right there. And we were stuck on the wall. We don't know what to do. But she was mostly coming from my little brother. Because, my little Loup-garous, they like young kids. If they see a beautiful young child, they're going to take them. So, as a big brother, I was not going to let that shit happen. So I fought her. You feel me? I'm getting right with her a little bit. She low-key beat me up. But, I'm getting right with her a little bit. Give her a quick soclo and everything. Dom punch me in my rib. To this day, like, if I'm running so fast, my right hip will start hurting like crazy. So we fighting, boom, boom, boom. My little brother, he yelling. Then I start yelling. Then my mom came, barged in the room. Then she just disappeared, like boom. So my mom was like, okay, my point. A couple days later, man, my auntie, my mom, even my dad, my uncle, they all went after that lady. They whooped that lady out. They banged on the door. They did everything it takes. To this day, bruh, that shit still scarred the fuck out of me. But it's part of being a Haitian, that's what most Haitians go through in life. Most. I can't say all, but most. You feel me? But yes, Loup-garous, these vampires in Haiti, that's called Loup-garous, they are real. They are real. If you're from Haiti, you know what I mean. Like, even American kids, Haitian American kids, y'all know what I mean about Loup-garous, bro. This shit real. It's real. Like, it's really real. It's not American vampires.
Damn, for the Vampire 7? Like I said, we're checking out a different side of TikTok, so these stories, man, freaking shocking me, bro. Breaking down the culture. But at 7, he had to fight off to protect his brother, and he did it too. Props to him, man.
I have been like damn near harassing me for this.
Loup-garous again.
Creepy story time.
Trying to get at
it all
him.
happened in Haiti. My mom was throwing a party, like a little get together, and everyone was having fun, but it was getting late, so everybody had to go home. After they went home, my mom heard a big sound coming from outside. It sounded like this. Yeah, like a cow. So she went outside to check. She saw a huge cow, the size of the road. No, literally, the size of the road.
What the hell was it doing?
They know exactly why they're scared, but you might not, so let me tell you. Make it a long story short, nobody with that much money is just gonna be handing it around. Oh, it must be juju money. They're not falling for that. But this is not the point of this video. I wanted to make this video to tell you that it is the month of December, quite possibly the worst month of the year for the normal citizens, but the best month of the year for people doing witchcraft. My grandma always told me the month of December It's the devil's month. Yeah.
Really?
The devil goes hard on this month of December because it is the last month of the year. So he needs to put in as much work as possible. So my number one advice to you would be, do not, absolutely not, pick up any type of law from the floor. Yapron, they will get you. And be kind. It goes a very long way.
I know that about the month of December now. I better start paying attention.
Yes, and Haiti, please mind your business. Story time. This one is brought to you by my uncle. This is a Loup-garou story, so things might get a little weird, but bear with me. So this lady, we're gonna call her Katya, okay? She is a SW. If you don't know what a SW is, just look it up. But that night, she was out on the street, running the streets, you know, trying to sell some puss. She was standing out there all day. She ain't had no customers. So it's getting late and she's like, you know what, maybe I should leave. But right at the moment that she's thinking that she's gonna leave, this guy in this rich, expensive car pulls up. And for that time, for somebody to have a car like that, that meant that that person had money, okay? It meant that that person meant business. So the car rolls up in front of the SW and he's like, yo, how much for? And she gives him the prices. Depending on what you want, I can provide it for you. He wanted to take her home. He didn't want service on the spot, so he wanted to take her to his house. So she agreed. She gets in his car and they start to drive away. Now the guy, there's really nothing suspicious or off-putting about him, considering like she's a SW. She's used to weirdos. She's used to creeps. So this is like, there's nothing standing out about this guy. He's on the steering wheel and she's next to him on the passenger seat. So they're driving, and y'all. And at some point, it looks like this driver is like basically falling asleep. Like he's just disassociating from the wheel and he looks like he's tired. She doesn't think anything of it and they keep going. They get a little bit further down the road. She saw something from her peripheral morph. So she does one of those and notices that the man who was driving the car turned into a dog.
What the fuck?
With his two front paws on the wheel, this SW is witnessing a dog driving a car when a few seconds before it was a man. So the SW proceeds to take out her cigarette. She had a cigarette like in the back of her ear. She proceeded to take out the cigarette. She lights up the cigarette and starts to smoke. As she lights her cigarette, she starts to chant. She says, moi-même c'est petit Jacques Maget mieux. Pita au moins Jacques Maget. Jacques Maget is a loi. He don't play about his children, so I think that was just her reinforcing her protection. After she says that like 3 times, Jacques Maget c'est petit tout, the freaking dog next to him looks like something startled the dog, and the motherfucker started morphing back into a human. And now it's back to a man driving the car. Now, of course, the story does not end here. A man looks over to her and says, I feel weird. Did you see anything weird? Do you feel anything weird? The SW looking straight ahead at the road says, nope. He said, you didn't sense anything? She said, no, I've just been in this car smoking a cigarette. She said, why? You feeling something? He says, yeah, I felt a little weird, so I just wanted to know if you saw something, if you felt anything. She said, nah, I ain't see nothing. Must be something in the air. He proceeded to drive all the way to his house. She got there and was absolutely horrified. So while the guy went to go take a shower, she went into his kitchen, grabbed a knife, and kept it underneath her pillow. The whole time she was laying down like this, one arm underneath the pillow, holding on to the weapon. She would go on and do. She held on to that knife whole time, just in case. After they were done, it was way too dark and way too late for her to leave anyway, so she proceeded on staying the night, but she did not sleep all night. All night, she had that one hand under that pillow. The next morning, they woke up, he paid her, and she went on her way. But I was like, wait a minute, she went through with it? And she had to. If she had switched up anywhere in that timeline, that would have been it for her. Anyway, if you guys like these spooky Haitian stories, you can expect that I will be dropping another story time tomorrow. And I have an entire playlist of like 40-something videos, so go ahead and check them out. Go ahead and leave me a follow on TikTok and on Instagram. And leave me a comment letting me know what was your genuine reaction to this story. Also, thank you guys for 50,000 followers. Aye, boo-boo.
That's crazy that she still went through with it.
Not only are you not safe on the outside, be careful with how you reject men.
Not everybody can handle it.
Top 3 creepy last words people said right before dying.
Talk
A
about
nurse
it.
who wants to remain anonymous said that she had a sweet patient named Ella who started to lose herself to dementia. She started talking to herself. Most of the time, it was playful. She would laugh to herself. One day, the nurse walked into her room and she was in a complete panic. She had her blanket pulled up to her chin and she was completely pale. The nurse went to her bedside to ask her what was wrong, and she said, "There is a woman in black looking in my window, and I am just petrified of her smile." The nurse said that it shook her hard. Reddit user Simple Simon 6262 said that when he was a student, he got called in on a stroke patient. She had coded and they were doing CPR. They worked for 45 minutes. But she died. They cleaned her up and called on her family to say goodbye. By the time her family left, she had been both brain dead and without a pulse for over 45 minutes. He said that blood had filled her brain and she was completely gray and had started to smell. Suddenly, she sat up and called for her family. The nurses rushed to get equipment and monitors back on her. She stabilized, said goodbye to her family, and promptly died a second time. Reddit user AJH1717 said that he works in a cardiovascular surgical ICU. He said that they had a stretch of nights where each corner room of their unit reported seeing a black cat walking around. Not a friendly cat either, apparently. The thing was hissing at them. The accounts were so similar to each other that they probably spent half an hour looking for the cat. Then they had security look as well. No cat was ever seen or found. 2 of those 4 patients coded the next day.
Humans who turned themselves into animals.
Jocelyn Wildenstein wanted to look like a cat. And now looks like this.
What the hell?
Dennis Abner wanted to look like a tiger. And now looks like this.
I didn't even get his nails like that. What the
Eva
hell?
Tiamat Medusa wanted to look like a dragon. And now looks like this. Toko-san wanted to look like a dog. And now looks like this.
Oh, what
Ted
the hell?
Richards wanted to look like a parrot. And now looks like this. Toru Ueda wanted to look like a wolf. And now looks like this.
I know they wanna, you know, people have their interest in things, man, but they taking it to the next level, man, about like trying to get surgery to actually look like the actual animal or thing they're trying to become. Bro, you'd think they were like hidden. I guess the more news, more people kind of know about things, stuff like this. Tap in with us, man. You can learn some stuff.
If you are a family influencer or post your child on social media, here are a few things you should never do in my own opinion.
Don't do it.
Number 1, might be common sense, but never post your child in a bathing suit. It's disgusting how many of these Instagram accounts exist that just solely share these types of photos and even have their own groups and communities, so just don't. Number 2, having your very young child's own Instagram page. For example, the LeBrant family. They have an Instagram account for each of their very young children, and just because it's managed by mom and dad does not mean it stops thousands of sick individuals from following the accounts and using their photos for exploitation. Number 3, AI-generated photos are becoming more and more realistic, so think about that before you post a picture of your child eating, crying, or honestly doing anything. When it comes to this type of inappropriate content, people will do anything to get a photo. Honestly, as someone who has talked about true crime stories for over 3 years, I highly suggest you never post your kid on social media. If you have other tips, please comment that down below.
Don't do it. It ain't worth it. Plain and simple. We got some Thomas the Ancient scary facts, bro. Oh man, we all used to watch that, bro.
Scary and haunting facts that'll keep you up at night. While sleeping, we see ghosts in our dreams and suddenly wake up with fear and think it was just a bad dream, according to paranormal experts in the virtual reality.
They're real spirits communicating with you, but our soul rejects and wakes us up for safety. That is why bad dreams are never completed. In a deep sleep, if you often see your dead relative or friend in your dream, it means their restless soul is actually in your room right now, roaming around you and trying to contact you. According to paranormal investigators, spirits are most active at night and mostly exist in cold air-conditioned rooms. They look and stare at you all night. If you have difficulty trying to fall asleep without any reason, it's a spirit somewhere in your corner staring at you. We actually have a sense to detect a paranormal entity around us. If you feel shivered all of a sudden, it means a spirit just passed through you. If you're home alone and feel like someone is staring at you but find no one after looking, 99% of the time it's a spirit. They want your attention.
This priest tied himself to 1,000 colorful helium balloons and then was found in the ocean months later. On April 20th, 2008, 41-year-old Father Adiller DeCarli wanted to raise money to build a chapel in his hometown, so he chose to tie himself up to 1,000 helium balloons and float over the ocean. He also hoped to break the previous 19-hour record, but unfortunately, things ended tragically. On the morning of April 20th, Father Adiller was fully repaired to take off, and for safety reasons, he put on a helmet, waterproof coveralls, and an aluminum thermal flight suit, as well as a GPS tracker and a radio to communicate with people on the ground. Only a few hours after taking off, despite the radio and GPS tracker, Father Adiller disappeared and could not be located. The last thing that he said through the radio was that he was losing height and was going to land in the ocean. Search and rescue teams were immediately dispatched, and after 2 days, they found the colorful balloons in the sea off Brazil's southeast coast, but Father Adiller was not there. Then, a few months later, a body was found in the ocean, which turned out to be him. It was reported that the priest had reached an altitude of 20,000 feet and then was blown off course by the strong winds, causing his tragic death.
A lot of people even be attempting things like that. That sounds like the figure. I know that movie Up with the balloons in the whole house, how all those balloons and he like was up in the sky, bro. Sounds like that, bro. This is like a darker version of it. The more you know, man. I think that's an edit. Yeah, that's an edit. We call those out. Any edits you see, man, if you call them out, bro, tell us down below, because I might miss a couple.
Sometimes in movies, when the dogs have to look very mean and threatening, they actually have to redo their tails with CGI because they won't stop wagging because they're doing such a good job acting. When bees run into each other, they actually make like a little whoop sound. Fish are actually able to recognize their owners. There's this weird misconception with people that they think that fish can't see out of the glass of their aquarium, but they actually have surprisingly good eyesight.
Oh, okay. The more you know.
A 12-year-old girl in Tennessee has been charged with murder after she killed her 8-year-old cousin.
Come again?
On July 15th, the 12-year-old reportedly smothered her 8-year-old cousin, Dearia Hollingsworth, to death, then reportedly cleaned up the victim and repositioned her body. Now the 12-year-old is facing murder charges and may even be tried as an adult. 8-year-old Dearia Hollingsworth and her cousin, the 12-year-old whose name has not been released, were visiting family and staying with their grandmother on July 15th, 2024. They reportedly began arguing over an iPhone and were having this disagreement. Then, while Dearia was sleeping on the top bunk of their bed, the 12-year-old allegedly used bedding to fatally smother her to death. Police obtained security footage that shows the murder and shows the victim struggling to survive as the 12-year-old used her entire body weight to put the bedding on top of the victim. The older girl is then seen attempting to clean up and rearrange the body to look like the girl was just sleeping. Dearia was found unresponsive in her bed by her grandmother. 2 days later, the security footage was found, and the older girl was charged with murder. The suspect is now being charged with first-degree murder and tampering with evidence. The DA is seeking to transfer her to the circuit court to be tried as an adult, calling the act, quote, one of the most disturbing violent acts committed by either an adult or a juvenile that my office has prosecuted. 12-year-old is expected to be back in court this week. Rest in peace, Dearia.
On this might ruin some people's day, a new study has found that people who believe in astrology are less intelligent and more narcissistic. The team of scientists at Lund University in Sweden wrote, the main results show that the higher the narcissism, perhaps surprisingly, the higher the belief in astrology. The positive association is possibly due to the self-centered worldview uniting them. They added that the higher the level of intelligence was, the lower the belief in astrology was. Such a Taurus thing to say. The question is, do you think this study is correct?
I was gonna say, see, because you guys believe in astrology, you know, the signs and things like that. I've been seeing that. I know a couple of times, you know, I hear a couple of people, they be talking about how they truly believe in stuff like that. I don't know, man. Tell me down below. I really want to know if you guys are into that.
Videos that can't be explained. The last one is crazy. Can someone explain to me why so many birds were pushed out of the sky?
Ooh.
Would you rather spend one night in this bathroom or kiss the third person who appears when you click share and then more? This woman captured a light orb of some sort on her doorbell camera and it kept replaying the Sesame Street theme song.
What the hell is that?
Could it have been trying to communicate with us? Only 1% of people can do this. None of you can completely spell your name one letter at a time in the comments below without being interrupted. First person to do it wins. Before we get to the last scary thing, make sure to support this page by clicking the follow button for more interesting facts every day. Did this guy randomly find a piece of the Ocean Gate submarine that imploded a couple months ago?
Oh.
What is that?
Where did you find that?
What's it say?
Oh no.
Ocean Gate. What the
We need to
hell?
turn that in, Cody.
What's it say? Oh, it's part of a helicopter.
No, it ain't.
Whatever.
What the hell? He just threw it
Here are
back.
some fun facts that are not fun, but you should still know about them. Well, Teletubbies is a cute, innocent show for kids, right? No! It's actually based on a mental institute in Bulgaria called La La Land. These kids were locked up for days and people forget to feed them. So Lala's real name was actually Tulip. Her face was so deformed that she looked like she was smiling. She was locked up for so long her face turned yellow, and that's why she was the yellow Teletubby. Next we got the blue Teletubby based out of a Tolaway who was really naughty. One day he was punished by staying outside. Because of the cold he froze to death and he turned blue, and that's why he's the blue Teletubby. Next we got the green Teletubby named Dipsy. He puked and vomited all the time because he was always sick. When he puked on the floor, nobody cleaned it up, so he just lied in his vomit for months. So he got sicker and sicker and he turned green, and that's why he's a green Teletubby. And last we got Po, which actually was my favorite. Her real name was Polia. One day she was playing with mud and she came home really tired, so she fell asleep by the fire. Not knowing it was Po, someone came and thought she was a log and threw her into the fire! And that's how she died.
Damn. Okay, that's an edit right there. We call him out, man.
Ashley Benefield has been convicted of manslaughter in the Black Swan murder trial. Benefield was accused of murdering her estranged husband in September 2020. Doug Benefield was shot to death in Ashley's home on September 27th while he was there helping her pack moving boxes. Ashley claimed self-defense, saying that Doug attacked her and she was afraid for her life. The murder came amidst a contentious custody battle between the two for their then 2-year-old daughter. Benefield's defense in the Black Swan trial claimed that she was trapped in an abusive relationship and acted in self-defense when she shot Doug. They painted Doug Benefield as a manipulative, controlling, and abusive man. The prosecution, on the other hand, accused Ashley of wanting sole custody of her daughter and resorting to murder to get what she wanted. Ashley was initially charged with second-degree murder, and her trial began just last week. After less than a day of deliberations, the jury returned their verdict last night, finding Ashley Benefield guilty of the lesser charge of manslaughter. Ashley now faces up to 30 years in prison. Judge has remanded Ashley to the custody of the Manatee County Sheriff's Office and revoked her $100,000 bond. The sentencing date has yet to be set, but like I said, she faces up to 30 years in prison.
Animal facts that'll blow your mind right out of your head. Contrary to popular belief, tigers aren't always solo hunters. They hunt in packs a lot, and a pack of tigers is called an ambush. as you can see why. Flamingos are naturally gray. That's their natural color, but they turn pink because of their diet of seafood. The black-footed cat is the most dominant hunter on the planet, despite standing 6 inches tall. There's a crocodile named Gustav that's believed to have killed over 300 people, and he's still out there. Oh, and I guess crocodiles got a new update, and apparently they can climb trees now? The chicken is closer related to the T-Rex than it is any other bird on the planet. There is not one report of an orca ever attacking a human in the wild. Dolphins like to get intoxicated, and they do it by passing around a pufferfish and using its venom. The biggest threat to a porcupine's life is themselves. They like to climb trees, and sometimes they fall and pierce all their quills right through themselves. Under all that fur, polar bears have black skin. It looks like a chupacabra. And the best fact of all, in 2022, the panda status changed from endangered to vulnerable. Go panda.
Oh, okay. I didn't know the thing about dolphins, man. They trying to get high, bro. Passing around a puffer fish. These are menaces, man. I never do that. These facts, man, they be blowing my mind. That's why I review these clips with y'all together.
The most disturbing theory in children's shows. SpongeBob SquarePants. The secret formula to the Krabby Patty is crab meat. This is why the Krusty Krab looks like a crab trap.
So that's what I taste like.
This is why he makes sure nobody knows it. And only Plankton knows. This is also why there is no crabs in the show besides him and his mom.
I'm just now putting that together. Is the crab referred to form of really crab meat, bro? That actually makes sense. Whoa.
Fun fact of the day that my small brain cannot physically comprehend. This one really did make me say, what the fuck? I want you to do me a favor and pour yourself a glass of water. Do it! Now, there is an immensely high chance that that water you're about to drink is older than the solar system. This is because it existed in ice specks floating in cosmic clouds before any of this shit came to be. Oh, and one more thing. Scientists estimate that every glass of water you drink has 100% passed through a dinosaur. So put immensely bluntly, the most vital thing humans need to survive is Jurassic wee-wee. My brain! Let's make a deal. If you didn't know these facts or they shocked you in any way, you have to share it. Now remind someone to stay hydrated today. And then immediately send them this video. We're so evil. Elon!
Drinking freaking dinosaur pee, bro. That's how we stay
This is
alive.
why you should never explore the forest at night. Late at night in 2006, 2 men hear some strange noises coming from a forest near their house, so they decide to go have a look. After their footage went completely viral, they would admit that they actually only went into the woods just to scare themselves. They didn't actually expect to film anything. At some point on their walk, they start to notice more and more dead birds on the ground, and so one of them gets out his camera to start filming them. As they're filming the birds, you can tell that they're getting more and more spooked by the whole situation, and then one of the men hears something in the tree line, and the cameraman pans his camera to look. Human eyes don't reflect light.
So what the hell was that?
Someone in my group just
He's out there is down below.
And they're right. Here's bat facts, but they get wholesome. Without bats, we wouldn't have tequila. There's about 500 plants that depend on bats to pollinate them, and one of them happens to be the reason you drunk texted your ex at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. Vampire bats will adopt the babies of their best friends if something happens to them. Also, vampire bats can die if they go one night without eating, so if one is starving, a well-fed bat will regurgitate in its mouth just enough to keep it alive. And it turns out they'll do this with their friends to make sure they return the favor if they ever need it. The smallest bat in the world is a bumblebee bat, and it weighs as much as 2 Skittles. Other than giving us reasons to send texts we regret the next morning, bats are free pest control. By eating the bugs that would destroy crops, bats actually bail the farming industry out of billions of dollars a year. Mother bats will carry their babies around everywhere for the first couple of weeks, and that includes while she's flying. Bats can sleep, give birth, and have sex upside down, and that might not be wholesome, but damn it, that's talent. Also, there's a reason bats vibe upside down. It's because it's easier for them to get in the air and fly away if they're already hanging upside down as opposed to if they were on the ground. Compared to birds, it's actually way harder for them to get in the air, so chilling upside down just makes sense. Or you know.
There is a book that shows you how to summon the devil.
I am of course speaking about the Grand Grimoire. It was likely written sometime between the 16th to the 19th century. Now, it details the method to summoning the devil and explains what you need to exchange with it to make a deal. Of course, that being your soul for eternity.
Not worth it.
It also discusses the other demonic entities said to exist in hell, and again methods on summoning some of those. The real question is, who really wrote it? If you're enjoying my religion series, remember to gift.
Who wrote that book, man? I'll stay away from that wholeheartedly. I don't need none of that bad energy, bad spirit near me. Nope. What the hell is he looking at? In the tunnel? I think that's an edit as well, though.
Here are some morbidly wholesome facts about Robin Williams. When Sharon Osbourne was sick in bed with cancer and giving up, Ozzy asked Robin Williams to come visit her. Robin randomly hopped in her sick bed, and her family instantly went from crying to laughing hysterically. Robin cheered her up so much that she went back to chemo the very next day. When Superman actor Christopher Reeve was left paralyzed after a horse riding accident, Robin Williams was one of the first people to visit him in the hospital. Came in dressed as a doctor and told Reeve he was there to give him a rectal exam, causing him to laugh for the first time in weeks. When Robin Williams first met Coco the gorilla in 2001, he made her smile for the first time in 6 months. When Robin died in 2014, Coco overheard the news and said the word cry in sign language.
Disney just got completely exposed. Okay, so we all know how Disney is known for all their classic movies. Well, what if I told you every single one of these movies is a copy and paste of another one? Disney literally recycles animation from other movies, and then change little things like characters and setting. Just watch this video and let me know what you think. Because after watching this video, I want to go back and rewatch all the Disney movies, just to see which movies recycled each other.
And Disney probably made billions off of that, off all those movies together. They really just use the same animation throughout the movies? I know about saving a buck, but isn't this plain like copy and paste? The more you know, man. Then we gotta go back and watch, like I said, those old movies and try to spot out the differences. I mean, spot out the similarities. One of the other movie companies does that as well. Disney might not be the only one.
There is no way in 1,000 years you'd be able to guess what's happening in this photo. Yes, it does look like the apartment of a former frat boy who can't decorate, but it's actually a still from the most evil reality television show to ever exist, where this man was kept in this apartment naked with no food for 15 months, while 17 million people in Japan tuned in. It's also the subject of tonight's episode, so let's dive in. So this is called Sweepsakes Life, and it was a show in Japan in the 90s. To cast the show, a group of men were told to come to a casting office with no other information. A box with a question mark was then wheeled into the room, and each of the men had to pull an envelope. This guy, Nasubi, is the guy that gets the winning slip, and this is where his nightmare begins. He was immediately blindfolded and thrown in the back of a car, where he was brought to this apartment and told to strip. This is also where he's told that anything he needs to survive needs to be won in sweepstakes that are in those magazines, meaning he couldn't eat anything until he won it, which didn't happen for 2 weeks. He wouldn't be let out of the apartment until he won 1 million yen worth of prizes, and he had no idea it would take him over a year to do so. I'm gonna have to do another part to the story, but check out tonight's episode for more.
A year?
It's just the usual transformation as far as I'm concerned. Painful, but there we are. We all have crosses to bear, eh?
Quiet. Nearly time out. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move right.
It's gonna transform into a werewolf. Let's see. Or is this just another edit? They won't let the public get a hold of footage like this, would they? Sideburns going in. Taking the shoes off? Okay. Yeah, this is definitely not it, bro. You know this is a damn edit. Like, what the?
That's great, thank you.
I like how he showed it like it's. Yeah, it's definitely not it, bro.
About to make a sunset. Look at this. Freaking I didn't see through clear. Look at that. Pull it up. Look at that. What the hell? Dude, some fake ass onion. Look at that.
They are selling fake avocados in Texas.
Oh, rubbery. We eating fake fruit and vegetables out here. We gotta test it now.
These are not real bananas. We got it from the supermarket, but when she opens it and she breaks it in half, it gets very tough and doesn't really break.
Mmm. It's like so freaking rubbery, bro.
They trying to kill us, man. We gotta stop this, man. We gotta start growing our own fruit. This shit from Sam's Club, man.
This is what I found inside. I don't even know if this is even a watermelon or something else. I mean, is this like some
Probably grown in a lab.
something they created in a lab?
So I cut watermelons for my kids, and they're all bringing it right back, saying they don't like the texture. I've seen enough videos of people posting rubbery watermelon. I can't believe I got one. I got a rubbery watermelon.
We need to be testing our freaking food out here. I thought that was a stick too.
Now tell me why this cow is always staring at me acting strange. Out of all the cows that we have. Tell me why this one is always just like staring at me.
What the hell?
He's again staring me down. I mean, compared to all the cows that are just minding their own business.
What the is that? A stray? Whoa. What the? What type of fish is that? You know, that's something like that looks like it's deep, deep, deep under the sea, bro. What the hell? And so the way the jaw extended? First time seeing something like that.
So there's several videos
Venom
going viral right now of what's supposed to be green lasers descending from the sky.
People's homes scanning the ground with that green laser.
People started paying attention after this particular video went viral. In this video you can see a plane flashing a green laser and kind of scanning the ground. This made a lot of people start questioning what the heck was going on. Where were these green lasers coming from? And then just a couple of months later, a CCTV camera captured what looks like several green laser beams of light descending from space. Needless to say, this caught a lot of attention, and experts and researchers were saying that this probably came from a Chinese satellite, but no one knows. Now this is where things take a really strange turn. Just a couple of months after, there were several videos popping up all over the internet of what's supposed to be these green laser beams descending from the sky.
Woo! Why are they scanning us? Looks like some out of a damn Terminator
This got
movie.
so much attention that it ended up on the news, and they actually found out that some of the planes scanning the ground with these green lasers were owned by a company named Randigo, but still, no one knew why they were doing this.
And I saw it going back and forth with a laser beam, and it scanned over me multiple times. I've never had flight radar until this happened, so I'm like, what the heck is going on? But it shows that what kind of plane it was and what type of plane. I don't know who owns it, and this has private owner.
When you put the information Casey provided into the FAA website, it comes back with this information saying it's registered to Randigo.
Little by little, people started researching about Randigo, and they found out several patterns. In one of them, you can see several pictures coming from flight radar of the plane's paths. Whatever they're doing, it's as if they're scanning something, maybe weather patterns, maybe something else. In another Reddit post, someone found out that the company owns 33 planes and 33 employees, and I don't know why, but this raised a lot of red flags.
Dude was gonna crash into the house. Wait till you see the laser coming off the bottom of it. Check the radar map. He's 1,200 feet off the ground.
That's way too close.
You see that green laser coming off the bottom?
I see it.
And then another Reddit user posted something like this. This plane flew over me this evening and was spraying something. Smell was awful. So I did a quick research just to double check if this plane was owned by Randigo, and guess what? It is. Strange, isn't it? What the heck is going on? It seems no one knows, but I want to know your take. What are these green lasers descending from space and from planes? What's going on?
Why are they scanning people? And if it's owned by Randigo, by 33 people? Ooh. This is too advanced. What the hell? Woo. Oh my goodness. This is how far technology has come. Look at that. That looked real, man. It sort of like had all the details and it opened up. Technology is getting advanced each and every single day. Why the hell is salt? If you put it at like a specific hertz, it's making different patterns. Why is that? Why is a cover right on top of a freaking crocodile like it was nothing. The more you know, man. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end, you're a true seeker, seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support. You guys are gonna catch you in the next videos, man. Hit that thumbs up button, comment down below. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.